And the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Praise to you, O Christ. Matthew chapter 25, you're invited. Please stand as you would be able. Jesus said to the disciples, "For it's as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and trusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with him and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground, hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, 'Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more talents.' Well, his master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, 'Master, you handed over to me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' Then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, 'Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, have what's yours.' But his master replied, 'Oh, you wicked and lazy slave. You knew, did you, that I reap where I do not sow and gather where I do not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him out in the outer darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God, I think.
Amen.
Well, we're going to have to listen to this story one more time to get some perspective. You're invited, please be seated. So I was watching the Masters golf tournament yesterday. I don't think this is the same kind of Masters that we're talking about here in Slaves. Slaves and Masters golf tournament. Maybe there's a connection there somewhere in history. But this is nothing like golf. This is about slavery. This is about masters and slaves. About people with a lot of money controlling others who have little to none and no freedom. Now, a literal reading of this parable shows a mirror to our problems with money. About how God makes money worth less and people worthy. About how God makes people worthy and money worth less. Well, there's a quote about the safest way to double your money. Does anyone know the safest way to double your money? Fold it in half and put it back in your pocket.
Oh.
There's a comedian that once said this: "Someday I want to be rich." Some people get so rich that they lose all respect for humanity, and that's how rich I want to be. Wait a second. That was Rita Rudner, huh? Well, there's one last quote. It says this. It says, "Money can't buy friends, but it can get you a better class of enemy." Money can't buy friends, but it can get you a better class of enemy. Apparently Spike Milligan said that one. Well, it turns out the investors in this parable are making windfall 200% profits off of somebody who has given them this money. Keep in mind that 1 talent in Jesus' day was worth about $100,000 today. And biblical law only permits 7% interest. Only permits 7% interest, and trading money is forbidden. Trading money is forbidden. Now notice what the people in this parable are doing. 200% profits and trading their money. Biblical law only permits 7% interest, and trading money is forbidden. And in comes this one guy who dares to hold up a mirror to this boss man, this master, saying that the business of the boss is unethical. Whistleblower. Wait a second. He speaks up about this master and the slaves that he has laundered his money for him. Note that these are not employees. These are slaves. It says it over and over again in case we forget what's going on in the parable. Master and slave, slave and master. This isn't job creation. This is a master with ego inflation, forcing his slaves to double his money or be beaten and killed. They have a death threat on their life, and the third one who speaks up gets it. They are being forced to double this master's money. Only one guy dares to speak the truth, but there was no witness protection back then, so the slave master has his way with the man, sending him to the cemetery. This is mafia mentality, where you can just take out anyone who dares challenge your corrupt ethics. The master orders a literal gag order to quiet the whistleblower. This one man, this whistleblower, says to the master, hey, something's not right here. Something's not right about your business, about the way you govern your land. You're reaping where you did not sow, gathering where you did not scatter seed. There's something illegal about your business here, sir. The master in this parable is not God. Oh no. The master in this parable is very human. The master in this parable admits that he is crooked, that his morals are based on money making, not job creation, not human rights, not people, but money and prosperity as he defines it. Now, this master agrees that he is a crook and reaps where he does not sow. And then he snubs his nose at the accusation. He's above the law. Who can charge this man, this master? Who's able to hold the law to him? He's got no time for regulations. He can afford to just crumple them up, toss them out with the former employees like trash. He's not interested in hearing the truth about his ways. No, he wants to make a buck at any expense. He wants to make money at any expense. The master is rich, yet morally bankrupt. The master of money is not God. Not our God. Not the God of Jesus. The parable is a mirror for the temptations of the world, even still today, even more so today. The difference between the master and God is simple. The master is interested in the worth of profits, while God is interested in the worth of people. The Christian church is interested in people, not profits. God gives people real worth with human talents, spiritual gifts, using our voices to speak up for justice and truth in the world. And this parable is about telling the truth in the face of a system that can crush you. The parable mirrors the one-man Jesus who dares to stand up to countless people and powers and politics and says, hey, there's something wrong with the values here. This parable also mirrors what happens to Jesus when he speaks the truth. When Jesus speaks the truth, the power, what happens to him? Do they give him a pay raise? They imprison him before they murder him, before they take him out, before they take care of this whistleblower who's causing all the problems for the people making profits. Betrayed for money, it says about Jesus. Betrayed for money. Jesus dies for sin and because of sin. And this love of money is at the root of so much. So now we come to the final point. Just one more sentence just before the end of the parable, which has been the source of confusion for so many. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. Now remember, this is the voice of humanity. This is the voice of people in power, of money. This is not the voice of God. This is the mirror to our reality, not a model for our morality. And all we need to do to understand this is to measure this against what Jesus says just 5 verses later, where we learn how truthful our Master Jesus is, expecting us to act towards those who have nothing. When he says, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you gave me clothing." Naked? How's that for having nothing? For those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away? No, that's the greed of our society. Jesus, the church, helps us to feed those who are hungry, to clothe those who are naked, to welcome those who feel estranged and lonely. There's a saying that God gives food but doesn't cook it for you. Just because we give food to the hungry doesn't mean we're enabling them or doing everything for them. You can lead a thirsty person to water, but they are still the ones responsible for drinking it. So I know I've been tested on these points. Each week, I'm tested on these points that Jesus presents. And my guess is that you too have also been finding ways to be Christian in a society that is full of capitalism and greed. We have a lot to learn from Jesus, but we need to hear it carefully. Otherwise, we'll misinterpret the readings and think they're talking about God when they're actually talking about the problems with humanity. We need to hear Jesus carefully, or else we're going to just end up approving over and over again the same corrupt and destructive things that people and corporations and governments have been doing since history has been written down. Greedy, sinful people continually destroy others with their evil, which is why we as the Lutheran, the Christian church, save people with God's power of love and mercy and grace. Justice for those who have been made prisoner, made slave. We seek freedom for our world. We seek the rights of people instead of profits. We seek to share the love of Jesus with the world. We proclaim the good news of God. And we renounce and denounce the master-slave system of the world, which makes people into just commodities and money. We renounce it, we denounce it, and we uplift. We uplift people, God, your people. Your power to free us, to enable us, to bring us spiritual gifts, to help us live happy, healthy, successful, faithful lives in Jesus Christ. Amen. When peace, like a river, to soothe us all, the hymn of the day, it is well with my soul.